What's up, guys? Welcome to the Hip Hop Vibe podcast. I'm SK,
And I'm Dylan, go by Dillo Pillow.
and this is episode one of our podcast where we'll be talking about Tyler the Creator and his music, evolution as an artist, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and we'll start all the way back at the beginning, which is the Odd Future tape in 2008, which I don't know a lot about it to be honest, but I mean, just to note the start of where he came from, like that group of guys is really important, I think, to who he became. So it was definitely pivotal to getting him going.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know that early 2008 tape existed until I'd say when Wolf came out. I I had actually had no idea. I've only heard it once, so I can't really speak much about it. But yeah, that's like the very beginning of his musical career, which is, I guess that's like a important thing to mention.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think working with the group has always been like a really good place to start for a lot of artists, so it was definitely important for him to have that. And those guys all pretty much became established artists as well, so you knew
Right.
something
And
special was happening.
yeah, especially the big three, Earl, Frank, and Tyler. All the way back then and even now, they'd be collaborating, making music together, putting each other on. Basically, all three of them helped each other get to the point where they are now. So their group work, even all the way at the beginning, is very important.
Definitely. And then yeah, Tyler's first solo project was a mixtape, Bastard, in 2009, releasing that on Christmas Day. I think that's hilarious. But
Right.
yeah, I mean that was a lengthy first mixtape. Not many people really put out that long of a project for their first one.
Yeah, honestly. Um, and it's also impressive how like it was kind of neat, like how I mean I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of artists when like the first piece of like music they put out, it's usually messy. There's a lot of like technical like issues with it or like the way it sounds, all that. Like um usually they aren't good unless like you are an incredible artist who like has their best work as your solo. Most times like those early mixtapes are never really like that impressive, but contrary to popular belief, I feel like Goblin, I mean not Goblin, Bastard is a very solid mixtape with like some of his best rapping performances ever, I'd say. And well, and that's partially because that's when he was like super focused on rapping,
Right.
whereas now he really isn't. But yeah, I think some of his best verses when it comes to like storytelling and like his like presence on the mic, his delivery, all that has some of his peaks are on his first mixtape, which is super cool to me.
Yeah, definitely like a lot of raw energy, and I think that's what helped to get him noticed. Because there were some people in high places who kind of noticed that mixtape, and I think Kanye was one of them, right? Um,
Yeah,
so that I mean that definitely helped him get going. I don't think it's like a mixtape that people talk about that often. Um, I guess maybe it's like somewhat forgotten because the rest of his projects are so good. Um,
yeah,
but it's still pretty good, you know. It's crazy that he was how old was he when that came out? That was like he was like 18, I guess.
yeah, something around there. He's pretty young.
So that's it's definitely impressive. And he's a little bit crazy back then too.
A lot of bit crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I mean that's
Um,
he always been like that. So I guess it's good.
yeah. I mean, yeah, back in like 2008, it was just like I don't want to like say it was accepted, but like those like type of concepts and like the things you used to talk about weren't as like taboo or considered as taboo as they are like today.
Yeah,
So I feel like that plays a part in him like getting away with some of his lyrics and the stuff he would talk about, which is like some really like gruesome shit, but that whole thing sort of plays into like the storyline that he has going with that he had going with his first few projects. It's like from the point of view of um like a character in a psych ward and a doctor and all
Yeah.
that. Like I could talk about that for hours, but I don't want to get into that right now. But um yeah, it was just like super grimy stuff. But the really impressive thing is that he self-produces and he self-produced that whole entire tape.
Yeah.
And that's one of the highlights of that project for me. It's like that like grimy and like sort of like horror-ish type production over like that slow but like hard-hitting rap. I think like all those elements together, it just like mixes really well, which a lot of people don't like. I can understand that, but really solid for a debut project in my opinion.
Yeah, and mentioning like the self-production, like that really helped him express himself even more because he was able to use, the ideas even in just the sounds and stuff. Because if he was just rapping about what he was rapping about, it wouldn't be as potent if it was over somebody else's production, I think. So that was definitely important.
Yeah, definitely. Like he knows, well, he's the only person that knows his sound the best, and he he catered that production to like elevate what he was like rapping about and the sound of his own rapping, which like I think that's very important. Like a lot of times when you see people self-producing, you can like just tell that there's like a whole different layer to the music. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah, it does.
unless like, but now I mean, I mean since way back when, there's like always been rappers and producers who have like amazing chemistry together. So like that works, but like producing for yourself, knowing yourself like better than everyone else, and then like making that sound to fit like the sound of your own like voice, like your subject matter, all that type of stuff. It's just like it's impressive and it makes the music much better.
Absolutely. And I mean, we see that as well on Goblin. He does the same thing really. And it's kind of funny the backstory behind the track that really blew up for him was Yonkers. Like he made that as a joke basically,
Yeah.
and people actually liked the song. Like that's like the best way to describe Tyler the Creator as a whole. Like the fact that he made a joke song that people also really liked. Like that just matches exactly his story, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's weird how that was his sort of like hit song or the one that really put him on the map because like I mean, first of all, it has that music video which is like super iconic with him
Right.
eating like the cockroaches. But it's weird because like the production on this song is like super like obscure, you know?
Yeah.
And his rapping is like I mean, obviously it's like the similar style that he had back then. I mean, that's what he did, but that sort of rapping was sort of like new at the time, I'd say. Because when was that? 2009
I think it was
or 11?
2011. Yeah.
11. All right. Yeah. Well, back then, like that's when like Kanye with the graduation 808 sort of was like pushing this like melodic hip hop type like sound. So then when you have this guy rapping like with the like super grimy raps and like odd delivery, blowing up as much as he did, that's kind of surprising to me, especially when it's such like an obscure song, which I find really cool.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I mean, the times were definitely shifting at that point. And he was like a really like aggressive kind of energy on that track, and it wasn't like something people were like, you know, listening to in like the radio or anything. It was just more like a kind of like the beginning of like his cult, because there he definitely has a
Yeah,
cult. So
definitely. I was just about to say like with that song, I feel like people who had like an interesting music taste found something that like really stuck with them. And that's how he built his like core following. And like he just he just found a group of people that mess with this like weird music, you know,
Yeah.
and like he just went with it. He knew what he was doing. He was like, all right, I know people like this stuff. Let me keep going with it, which I thought was really cool. But what do you think about like Goblin as an album, like in general?
Um, it's pretty interesting. I'm not like I don't come back to it that often, honestly. Um, there's definitely some really solid tracks, but there's definitely some moments in there where he's just basically losing his mind on the song, which I think is fine. I think that's important to have moments like that. But yeah, as a whole, the project, it's like there's a lot of stuff happening there. I don't know if it's like his most cohesive thing.
Yeah, no, I feel that. A lot of it just like again, like I mentioned before, it's just like playing into that whole story about like a mentally insane person. But yeah, it was like it's sort of like disjointed. I kind of understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because I know he always
But
goes for like a storyline or something like that. So of course he definitely had an idea behind that, but he was super young still, and like so maybe it didn't flesh out as the best as it could have.
yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, I think. And it but the lows are kind of like very garbage on that album, but the highs I think are pretty great. Like tracks like Tron Cat and She. I feel like
Yeah,
those that's some of his best work.
yeah,
And
she's
it's
a
like
really good one.
authentic too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is pretty authentic. That's very true. That's definitely like the best way to describe his earliest work, I think,
Yeah.
because he was not holding back anything.
Right. And at the time that like, he was really making music for no one but himself, really, because he wasn't like the biggest artist back then. A lot of people didn't even like that sound was just super rare. So he wasn't trying to like make music for the people. He was trying to just like make shit he like actually liked, which like sort of adds to that whole aspect of like authenticity and stuff. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And I think next in his discography was Odd Future Tape 2, which is pretty popular amongst Odd Future fans for sure. It's got some good songs on
yeah,
it.
oldie is like the big one.
Yeah.
Like the whole memes now, like the whole Frank Ocean can rap and all that shit.
Right.
But
That one just comes up way too often.
right, but yeah, no, it's a solid project, and I think it really put a lot of people on like the group too. Like I feel like Tyler was trying to push his own music and like they were pushing the group as a whole at the same time, which is hard when you think about it, but they did really well
Yeah.
um doing both of that simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm not like super familiar with when the rest of the group like blew up individually or anything like that, but I mean like I feel like this was definitely an important moment for all of them. Just to be able to display, because it's not like they didn't have tracks with Tyler on his albums that they would get noticed for as well, but like
Yeah.
just to have a whole collection of stuff like that is great.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think well not I don't know about every single person, but like the big three blew up around like the same time frame, like in between 2010, 2012. Like Frank Ocean dropped Channel Orange in 2012,
Yeah, that's
if I'm not
2012.
wrong.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was there. It's all around like the same time period, but um, I feel like it's really cool to see how they had like this whole collective, but it was just a bunch of friends just having fun
right.
instead of like some like super professional. Oh, our main objective is to like blow up, get hit songs, all this. They're like, you know what? We're just friends. We all like to make music. Let's just hop on all these songs, like have fun. Let's like I don't really care. Let's just like do what we want to do. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, and it's interesting like how they all took the time to do something together like Odd Future Tape, but they also all worked individually. Like you think about like a group like Brockhampton, they only do stuff together at this point. Hopefully they're going to branch out from that, but like to be able to manage both and also grow the fan base to like a very large amount, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, like with groups, you usually see like I mean it's a common trend, but they usually do all the group stuff first. After that pans out, then they break up and do solo stuff. Like same thing happened with like Wu-Tang really.
Yeah.
Because it was like they were super focused on like their group projects and whatever. And then um they sort of just like split up. Ghost went his way, dropped all his solo stuff, and that happened. And same with that's what's happening with Brockhampton right now. I mean, like Kevin Abstract
Right.
dropped his first like I think second solo project 2 years ago. First one was like a year before. But yeah, like you were saying, the way they managed to have this like group together, put out quality music, get successful, and do their own thing at the same time, that doesn't get they don't get enough credit for that.
Absolutely. And something else that they did together that's absolutely hilarious and also always going to be remembered is Loiter Squad. Like
Right.
that's a genius. That's a genius creation.
Yeah. They really like they saw that they were getting traction and they capitalized on that. Like that's like honestly, I don't think I've ever seen anyone in hip hop ever like go on like the entertainment realm as a group before,
Yeah, that's true.
or very rarely.
Yeah, it's definitely rare. And I mean, I have a funny story with like Loiter Squad. Like my first introduction to Tyler the Creator was Loiter Squad. I didn't even know. I thought when he released Wolf after Loiter Squad, I thought it was a joke. I thought he was just. I didn't even know he made music seriously. So I mean it's a good way to draw an interest as well. Like some of my friends like used to watch Loiter Squad with me when we were in like middle school or whatever, and like yeah, they didn't even know he made music until like years later. So he definitely has multiple ways to be remembered by because he was, phenomenal on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a lot how a lot of his fan base like came along. Like well with me, I found Tyler through like an older friend back when it was like around the time Wolf dropped. It wasn't through Loiter Squad. I didn't even know that was a thing until like a year after. But I feel like a lot of people like I feel like a lot of his fan base definitely came from seeing that side of him, and then it just like sort of transitioned to his music. Because like when you see like him being his like funny self, and you hear this shit he's rapping about, it's like, all right, this isn't the same person.
Right.
So I feel like that's like the moment when like his fan base became like two different type of fan bases, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because you know how like right now you still have those people. It's like, oh, Goblin's the best Tyler album. Oh, it's like the old Tyler, and then we have like the Flower Boy Igor
Right.
fans. I feel like that like with Loiter Squad, that's when that like whole separation kind of started. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to talk about. I didn't really like particularly know about that until like in the last couple of months that like there are people who like genuinely are so upset that like Tyler is not the same as he was before. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
so interesting to see that cuz like the way I see the dude like he has progressed into so many stuff, so many different things because that's just life. But people are like actually are like upset that he doesn't rap like that anymore, and it's so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Well, I was actually thinking about this earlier. So for those people, it's either well, I think it's either one of two things. One, it's just like they're clinging on to nostalgia, you know?
Yeah.
Because like that Tyler is what they grew up on. It's like what made them fall in love with Tyler's and his music. And he did that for a good amount of years. So when you see this artist that has like this certain style that you really enjoy start to do like something completely different, like when he went to Cherry Bomb and well, like after Wolf when he went to like Cherry Bomb and then even Flower Boy when it's like more production dependent instead of like his actual rapping, I feel like they are obviously going to miss out or they're going to miss that artist that they fell in love with. So I think that's one thing which I completely understand.
Yeah.
The second thing, I don't really want to like sound like an asshole, but a lot of times, um, it's people who just like try to front as like OG fans and like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Goblin is my favorite. Oh, this is like, it's sort of like it's like some people are super pretentious when it comes to that stuff. It's like, oh, the first stuff has to be the best stuff for your fake fan type mindset, which I feel like is a case with a lot of like
Yeah.
that type of fan, you know?
There's definitely fans like that, and it's unfortunate
Yeah,
that they do that because like the artist doesn't want them to think like that, you know.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean it's an interesting transition period. Let's talk about Wolf a little bit. I mean Wolf is really like an underrated album in my opinion of his. Like it just doesn't get the same level of respect I think it would, or like it should.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot about like it not getting like the respect it deserves is because it was like mid transition
Yeah.
from his sound. You feel me?
Mhm.
Because like um he still had that like grimy rapping, except the production style was super different
Yes.
compared to Goblin. He like you could see him focusing way more on the production on that on Wolf, but also he was sticking to like the grimy raps, which is like what he started off doing, and that's like mid transition into the Cherry Bomb Flower Boy era.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why it kind of gets like forgotten because it's like a mix of both, you know?
Yeah. The production is a very interesting thing about the album because like I hear tons of Igor elements in that, looking back on it, which is really cool. But also it's like the production was he was so focused on the production to the point that like sometimes it all sounded like similar. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Oh
think he was
yeah.
even trying to do that. He was just like really starting to like these different sounds and then just ended up making a lot of like very similar songs on there.
Yeah, no, I've actually noticed that too. It's like, I mean, that's when he started to experiment with his own production style, and he started to do is like, he's like, all right, I found that like I really enjoy doing like this thing differently than I was doing before. And it's fun to make. Let me roll with it. And yeah, as you were saying, I think he sort of got like lost in that um, mindset of like, oh, I want to stick with this different style, and it's just like sort of sounds similar, but it's not really a bad thing too, because it sounds great.
Yeah,
Like
that's definitely true.
repetitive has a negative connotation to it, and some people just like blow it out of proportion, like with Polo G. But yeah, like you can be repetitive, like like what are you repeating can still be good. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a pretty wide variety of tracks on Wolf as well. But one, everybody has a different favorite on that one, I think, which is great. There's not like a real standout other than maybe like IFHY. I mean, that's a classic song, so that's
or Colossus too,
yeah, Colossus as well.
super iconic.
But I mean, I really like the track like Tree Home 95. That's one that I come back to a lot. I don't know if it's that popular or not, but like those sounds on there are really nice. Really well produced song.
Honestly, I haven't listened to Wolf in a while, but I remember that song like really not being one of my favorites. I have no idea why though. It's weird. Like when you don't listen to an album in a long time, like you like remember which songs you liked and didn't like, but like you barely remember the songs. Does that
Right.
ever happen to you?
Yeah, it does. I understand that
Yeah.
for sure. Like I'll come back to an album and be like, I did not like this one first time and listen to it and be like I didn't even remember the song at all. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's me kind of with like a handful of songs on Wolf, but the one I listen to the most often is probably Colossus. I just like love that song a lot.
yeah, it's definitely one of the best on there for sure. I mean, I didn't even listen to this. Like I said, I thought it was a joke for a long time. So I didn't even know about it for a while. But once I started listening to it, I was like, this is really cool. It's definitely been in my rotation a
Yeah.
lot, even in the past couple months.
Yeah. I mean, the album like really is kind of special to me because it was like my introduction to Tyler. Because like someone I like an older friend I knew like was listening to the album, and like naturally I listened to it too, and I absolutely loved it. And that was before I knew like what Loiter Squad was, like what Odd Future was. Like I didn't even know like he had all the older stuff, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I just like something about the album has really like stuck with me, and well now I haven't revisited it in like a while, but that was like that first moment when like I fell in love with Tyler's music. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's something that's also interesting about his music is like there's I mean we kind of already touched on this a little bit, but like probably everybody, might have a different first album that they heard him from. It's
Yeah,
not like he
exactly.
blew up at like one specific point. It's been very consistent growth for sure. But
Yeah, and like there's a whole wave of like there's like a whole addition to his fan base with every album. Like you're saying, everyone has like their different first album. Like you have the Goblin Bastard like fans, and then you got all the new fans from Wolf, and then just like keep going with like Cherry Bomb Flower Boy Igor. So like more and more fans come not expecting to see like the old slash new Tyler. So that's why there's like a lot of division between the fan base.
yeah, that's very true. And yeah, Cherry Bomb, that's an interesting moment in his discography. It'll always be like discussed, whether it's good or not. I
Yeah.
think everybody has a different opinion on it.
Yeah, definitely his most polarizing project. Um, I feel like every artist or a majority of artists have like that one album where they're like way out of their comfort zone and they just like say, fuck it, I'm gonna do something completely different than I usually do.
Yeah,
That's Cherry Bomb for Tyler, which I personally like absolutely hated when I first heard it. But over time I've grown to really enjoy the album.
yeah.
How about
I
you? What do you think about it?
I also hated it when I first heard it. I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like,
Yeah,
I
that
wasn't
was exactly what I
I
used to
wasn't
think.
connecting with it at all. And like there were big name features on there too, and I'm like, "What are we doing with this?" Um,
Yeah, like Smuckers, like bro, like got Kanye West and Weezy on a song on an album that almost everyone hated when they first heard it, which is hilarious to me.
yeah, but I mean, I've ended up appreciating it a lot more. It definitely takes a little longer to really understand like what he was going for with this one. But there's definitely moments that are like, some of his best, honestly, on here. Like "Find Your Wings" is an amazing song. Um, "Fucking Young" slash "Perfect" is a great song. "Smuckers" great song. Like there's some really good stuff. It gets forgotten.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, it's funny to me how like I don't know, because for me, what happened was when I first heard the thing like all the way through, I absolutely hated it. And then I realized that like there's sort of like a break in the middle of the album when like the whole like style of it changes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got songs like Death Camp and like Buffalo and all that. It's like super like in your head like type like it's
Yeah,
like that
it's
what's the
definitely the
word?
rough patch in the album.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like the most aggressive like parts of the album, but then when you get to stuff like um fucking Young Perfect, like Smuckers, that's like sort of when it's calms down, you know?
Yeah,
So it's like it starts off super angry and then it's like slows down as you move through. But when I first heard it, all I remembered was like the in your face, like annoying production, that sound.
yeah,
That's why I like that's why I like hated it. But then I re-listened to it and I always revisit this album. But like you were saying, like Okaga, Smuckers, like some of his best music, which I love. And it's like it's a staple in his career because he was doing something completely new to him and new to his fans. So yeah, it's like what a whole lot of red is with Playboy Cardi is like that same exact thing and like
yeah.
testing with Rocky.
To a degree, yeah, I definitely see that, and yeah, there's always gonna be people who don't appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure there's people who listen to the first four songs and turn it off because they don't like it at all, and I can understand that.
Yep.
Like like "Run" with Schoolboy Q. Like I don't really know what that was. I've never really liked that song honestly, but that I could see why a lot of people might stop right there.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I
That's the thing that sucks because I he definitely did that on purpose too. Like he knew exactly what he was doing, putting those songs at the beginning and putting um like what he did at the end. Like he definitely knew people would like start the album, be like, "What the hell is this?" Turn it off, and never get to experience like the most beautiful parts of this album,
yeah.
which is kind of unfortunate. But I don't know. I guess he had his reasons for doing what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
just as
his
the artistic
production
elements
definitely
of it.
took a step up on that second half. Even in the
Yeah,
first half, the
exactly.
production's good. It's just like he was just doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely marks the point where his production really was like he could do whatever he wanted. Because like with Wolf, like we said, it got a little repetitive at times. But with this, like every song's pretty different.
Yeah, for sure. And like the production style in general, because like when you look at Goblin and Bastard, you like it's a lot of like that slow but like heavy hitting type beats, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then on this one, it's like those sort of like relaxing, calming, like euphoric type beats towards the end at least, not
Right.
like Death Camp. But um yeah, no, like we could really see like his evolution like when it came to his production, like like different styles, different like tones, like all that stuff all went into this album, which I don't know, this album was like a huge statement, really. Just like he just showed off like all the different skills he had.
Yeah, definitely.
Even like a lot of people don't like it, but I don't know, it's a really good album for me.
Yeah, I think it'll be remembered for a lot of different reasons amongst fans. But I think if people do go back to it and listen to it again, after a couple years, maybe they'll learn to appreciate it for sure. It's definitely important.
Yeah. And that's my favorite part about music, honestly. It's like you hear something one, two, maybe even three times, don't think much of it, even hate it, and then you listen to it, give it some time, or I mean, you give it some time after you first listen to it, and it's like a completely new experience,
Yeah,
which is probably what happened with a lot of people who like this album now.
definitely. I don't think it was well received. I don't know. I don't really remember what it was like when it first came out, but yeah, I don't think it was well received. So
Yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, obviously, you have his like fans that love it, love everything, every single thing he drops, but I don't know, it was just like unexpected, really. Like people were not expecting him to experiment as much as he did on this one, and like, I mean, you could definitely see a trend with his first three projects where he's sort of like changing on every single one, but it was never drastic. And then this came, and it was like, boom, I'm gonna give you something that you never heard. So yeah, there's a lot of people who disliked it, and even today, a lot of people like think it's his worst, one of the worst albums they've heard. So I don't know.
yeah, but then the next album, Flower Boy, is I mean probably his most well received. I don't really
Yeah,
think I've ever seen anybody talk negatively on it.
I mean, yeah, like on Twitter, there's like obviously people who like dislike Tyler with a passion.
Right.
But if you ask even like a non-Tyler fan, what's your favorite Tyler the Creator album? 9 times out of 10 they'll say Flower Boy, which is crazy because he dropped his like most polarizing project and then 2 years later, like the most well-received project and like his like masterpiece really in Flower Boy.
Yeah, I mean I wasn't sure what to expect at all when this came out, but he got a couple good singles that really grabbed attention. He released a lot of singles for this one, actually. I think that was probably why it was
Yeah.
so well received. But Who Dat Boy was definitely a big moment in grabbing some
Hmm.
attention. I
Yep,
remember that was
definitely.
all over like Rap Caviar back in the day. The music video was on
Yeah.
there too. That was like a big song for sure.
And 2017 was a time when ASAP Rocky was huge too, because at long last ASAP came out in 2016, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was 2016. All right, let me double check
it
because
might have
I'm
been
not
early
don't mess with me.
2017, but it was definitely before Flower Boy.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm stupid. That was 2015.
Oh wow. I didn't even realize it was
Okay,
that long
I
ago.
don't even know. Well, yeah, I don't know. Why did I always think it was 2016? Anyway, that is it's still I mean my point still stands because like that's a time period when Rocky was huge. Like at long last ASAP is probably his like most praised album.
Yeah.
Like the hype was still there. Like everyone was like, "Oh, ASAP Rocky is this like great artist," and then he hops on this song with Tyler, who's like, who they really have nothing in common except they make amazing music together. So like when they saw that, like people probably like, I'm people. I freaked out. I'm like, yo, what is this? And yeah, I know it's great. great way to like introduce this whole different side of Tyler to the world.
Yeah, I think that one also had a really iconic music video to go with it. I think that
Yeah,
was
it
part
did.
of it.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good songs on here. I really liked the way he incorporated Rex Orange County. That was really
Oh
good
yeah,
stuff.
definitely. Um, in general, like the way he got a bunch of different singers to do the vocals on each song. Like he got Rex on here, Frank Ocean, Kali Uchis, um,
Estelle, who
yeah,
didn't add that
Estelle.
much, but yeah,
But yeah, no, he like he just brought together like a ton of different people on this. You got Lil Wayne on Dropping Seeds, which is like it's basically an interlude. I wish it was like a full song, but yeah, it's one of the best parts of the album for me,
it's a great track.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I feel like a lot of people will have like even a different favorite on this one. Like, I don't think there is like, I mean, numbers wise, See You Again blew up, but that was like after the fact. I think that was a while after.
Yeah.
So I think you can be anything could be your favorite on this one. I really think all the tracks are great.
Yeah. Um, Standouts wise, like usually people's most favorites are either like 911, Who Dat Boy, See You Again, or like Where This Flower Blooms.
Yeah,
But then again, every song on this is just like amazing to me. This used to be my favorite album like ever at one point.
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
can
It's just
respect
like
that. It's a super replayable album. It's
yeah.
also being having some meaning behind it too. Like, so I think that's great. There's a lot of layers to it. Production's phenomenal. He's
And
yeah.
oh, what were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say like um coming off of Cherry Bomb, dropping an album like this was like super unexpected at the time, and I feel like this is where like a lot of his fan base came from,
Oh yeah,
because like Tyler Creator was has been big all throughout like last decade, but like once this album dropped, I think it took him to a whole other level because he like broke into like a different like I wouldn't say genre, but like a completely different sound. Like he had like some R&B like influence in there. You got some like pop influence in there. It's like a bunch of different stuff, and I feel like it caters to like a bunch of different audiences too. Because like on 911, you got like his rapping, like
right.
rapping, which like a lot of his fans are obsessed with that. And then you got like songs where he's singing, and then it's just like a bunch of different elements together. It's just like I don't know. It's just like an amazing album. Sometimes I just don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to describe it in full. Like, but the album cover's iconic. The B became like an iconic logo for his fan base as well.
Yep.
Um,
His brand in general, honestly. That's like
yeah,
ever since then he just like sort of based his brand off the artwork for Flower Boy, which is really cool.
definitely. I think my favorite song on this one is not that commonly a favorite, but I absolutely love the song November. That's like what my favorite. I can listen to that at any point. It's such an interesting song. It's pretty different than the rest of them, and it's not like to like a crazy degree different, but just a really enjoyable track.
Yeah, it's definitely one of like the standouts, like as in like it's different compared to the rest of the album. And funny thing is, this the November was like my favorite song on this album from when it dropped all the way until like mid 2018. I used to play it literally every single day. It was weird.
Yeah,
But
it's just
now,
good energy.
yeah, but now over time, it like sort of went down on like my track list ranking, if that makes sense. But still an amazing song. I
Yeah,
mean, it's weird how like it's not similar to like really any other song on this album, except it fits in perfectly.
yeah. That's what I
That
was
makes
trying to
sense.
describe when I was saying like I don't even know how, but it just did.
Yeah. In general, like the sequencing on this album is great. Like the way each song goes into the next, it's like it just works. And then he gets those he has those like little interludes. I mean, they're not titled interludes, but like I don't know, it's like nice points in the album where it's like these smaller cuts of like just dope instrumentals and then you get like a full song. after it. And I don't know. It's like I don't know. I feel like the amount of work he put into this is just like insane. I've watched like interviews about like the process of making this, and some of these beats took him like less than a day, and some took him like multiple weeks. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you can tell he was trying to put everything together. Like, if one sound was sounding good, he probably just tried to keep expanding on it for a while and building off of that. So, he did a really good job with that throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, next came Igor. And honestly, yeah, I'll say what my initial reaction to Igor was because I think it's funny. Um, when I first heard it, I recorded a reaction video to it, even though I wasn't really doing YouTube like that at the time. I was like, this
Mhm.
is a cool album. I'm gonna check it out, and I recorded the reaction video, and I hated the album. I deleted the footage. I was like, I'm not posting that. I I was so upset because he wasn't rapping, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And wow, I ended up I love the album now, but like, what a crazy project.
Yeah. My first time listening to this, so the day it dropped, I wasn't able to stay up to listen. So that day I had first period art class and we weren't really doing anything. So I just like put my headphones out. I'm like, all right, let me listen to this. I played the first song and I was like, all right, this sounds sort of sounds like Cherry Bomb. Like, you know the intro of Igor's theme?
Yeah.
It's like the harsh noise sort
Mm-hmm.
of. I'm like, oh, are we gonna get another Cherry Bomb type album? Yeah, that was like it's like completely opposite. But I've loved it ever since the first listen. Cause I mean it was definitely weird to hear Tyler in this like new and like doing this like new style of music.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Except
basically a
it
whole new
fit him.
character. So
Yeah. Um but it fit him really well and well this is like this is like his most important album I'd say as like defining him as a person because he really expressed himself and like his sexuality
right.
and like everything on this album and I don't know it's like you would think that he can't change his style anymore because he's done it so much already and then boom it's like again here's something you never heard and he did that like three times in a row.
Yeah.
It's like he won Cherry Bomb, completely new, you never heard this. Fireboy, completely new, you never heard this. And then Igor did the same exact thing, except he made it work flawlessly for me.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I do believe this is a perfect album. Like, I can't find any flaws at it. I mean, the production alone is just insane, and the way he worked in with so many different artists with like not even making them sound like themselves too much, and like all hidden
Mhm.
features and stuff like that. Like,
Yep.
just genius work.
Yeah, I didn't know Uzi was on Igor's theme until like a good amount of time after it dropped. I didn't even know Kanye was on the album
Right, the
until
Kanye
I had
one's
to look
kind of
up.
hidden too.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't know how to say her name properly, but Solange, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah, but like she did vocals on a few tracks. I didn't know it was her either. I just saw like, and for the longest time, I thought Tyler was the one doing like these insane vocals. I'm like, damn, when do you get that much range? But no, it was he got features. But I feel like that was one of like the best parts about the album, like that whole experience, like with the hearing all these different sounds that we'd never heard on a Tyler album before.
Right. Yeah, and the way he did like the vocal processing and editing was like he made it all sound like it was him because he was doing so much of that throughout the whole album. So you wouldn't have even known,
Yep,
you know, until like people started
exactly.
to point it out, which is really a huge compliment to him because I've never heard someone do it like that before. That's crazy.
Yep. I feel like the only feature that's like clearly not Tyler the Creator was Cardi on Earthquake. Other than
Right.
that, like I feel like at least first listen, everyone like had like thought that was him doing everything himself until they saw like the credits. But
Yeah.
super impressive, like you're saying. I've never seen anyone do anything like that before.
Yeah, this is also an album where like there's no standout in my opinion. Like obviously Earthquake has a lot more plays than most of the songs, but that's just because it got, like popularized. But I don't think anybody has like a standout favorite on this one. It could be anything. I think Gone Gone
Yeah,
Thank You is really one that's like really become popular over time,
yeah,
but
no, definitely.
there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like the quality throughout the album is super consistent. That there's no track that like blows the others out, like in terms of quality.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
obviously Earthquake, like you said, that was like the hit song, like that got like the most attention. But honestly, there's not a single song that like that's like that has less quality wise than like any other song on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I think it's like a perfect project. Everything just flows together. Like we were saying on like Flower Boy, like how there's like kind of sections on that. This one just goes straight through and everything
Yeah,
just connects perfectly.
yeah, exactly. It's like and the like listening to it, it just feels like it's a whole experience. It's not even like you're listening to an album. It's like I don't know how to describe it,
I
but
think
it's
it
like
is more
this.
like it actually is like such a good album that like you want to listen to it all in order. Like it's like almost like one song really,
Mhm.
and that's like what's so good about it. Because like when I listen to this album, I really can't take any of the songs out of context. I don't like to because like just the way it's all put together, you feel like you have to just sit through and listen to everything.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me. I think you commented that on the anniversary post I made for Igor like a few days ago.
Yeah,
When you replied with that, I'm like, I never really thought about it that way, but like that got me thinking. Like, yeah, I usually can't do that either. Like, there's like maybe a few songs like I got Earthquake on like a summer playlist, but like other than that, there's like no songs I could like take out of the order and still get the same feeling.
right. You have to really put it in order to fully appreciate all those sounds and stuff because it is like it's a whole unique soundscape on its own thing. Like there's not
Hmm.
any other albums that sound like it, I wouldn't say. And of course he draws inspiration from like Kanye and stuff at points, but he took so many different ideas and put it into one that like there's not any direct correlation.
Yeah. And that's funny because like you can never tell like musically, like yeah, Kanye definitely influenced him. Like even like fucking Lil Wayne influenced him, but you'd never hear any of that in like his music because it's just so different.
Right.
And it just surprises me how like he can continuously change like what he does um time and time again. And like they're only like 2 years apart, which is insane to me. Because like I understand he had changed his like whole thing when he went from Cherry Bomb to Flower Boy because Cherry Bomb wasn't received well at all. But Flower Boy, it's like, damn, bro, every single person liked this album, and then you say fuck that, and you're going to do something completely different. And I don't even know how like someone can like just scrap their whole thing before and then like start over with something completely new. It's just like it's
Yeah.
great.
And I think that one thing kind of related to that about Tyler's music is like other than the crazy lyrics from like back in the days, it's like it's timeless music. Like you can listen to it at any point and really appreciate it, and enjoy it. Like there's not like a crazy like change in like quality overall, but obviously some of the stuff he was saying back in the day would not be
Hmm.
accepted nowadays if it was released.
Yeah.
But I still think to a degree it's very important, and can be listened to at any point.
Yeah, no, definitely like you got cuts from his old stuff like She, um, Ass Milk too. And then shit, what I was gonna say. Yeah, no, like each album has like a few songs that never get old for people. Like Wolf has Colossus and
Yeah.
all that, and then Cherry Bomb has Okaga, fucking Perfect Smuckers. Like people always like still listen to those. Flower Boy basically the entire album, and now Igor, which is also basically the entire album, which is like can be played anywhere at any time.
Right. One thing that's kind of interesting about Tyler, that I wanted to mention is like he has not done that many features until like later in his career. He did not. I don't think he liked working with other people because like he was so into like the self production and choosing the sounds he wanted to do that was it took him a while to get to that point.
Yeah, I think he was just like hyper focused on making his own stuff, but also he was obsessed with making it for himself, you know?
Yeah.
Like as you were saying before, like his production style, like he caters that to like match his like sound, you know?
Hmm.
And like when you collaborate with people, you gotta compromise. You gotta like give up aspects of your own music to make it fit with someone else, especially when you're an artist like Tyler, who's like has no similarities with anyone. So I feel like I feel like that was a problem for him, trying to like I wouldn't say he had a problem actually working with people. I feel like he didn't want to like
Yeah.
have to sacrifice some of like the stuff that makes his music what it is to fit with other people. But like last year, his feature one was absolutely insane. Like he
Right. Yeah. Last year
worked
was
with
great.
yeah, he went work with like West Side Gun and
Freddie
um
Gibbs.
like the Griselda members. He worked with Freddie Gibbs. He worked with ASAP Rocky and Yachty. And I
Oh
don't know,
yeah,
bro.
that
He
was
just
an
like worked
interesting
with
one.
yeah. He just literally worked with everyone last year, which is crazy
And that
because
one
like
with
that's
Brent
not something you see.
Faiyaz this year too. Great track.
Yeah, Gravity. I wouldn't have expected that. Actually, no, I take that back. That's like a perfect collab. And it really reminded me of Flower Boy because you see the R&B singers work with Tyler and then just make amazing music. It's like, damn, another R&B singer with Tyler.
Yeah, the production on that one sounded a lot like his kind of choices too. Although I don't think he had like full production credits. It was definitely inspired by what he does.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, it wasn't his beat, but I I have a feeling that the producers sort of like catered that beat like to fit Tyler's vibe, if that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the one on 327 with West Side Gun is such an interesting feature, but he absolutely was great on it. So he really
Yeah.
shows like I would love to see him do more stuff like that because like he's a lot more versatile than he's given credit for because he can still rap. He just chooses not to all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then like you see him do that on you see him like really like rap again on three different features last year. He did um the one with Gibbs, the one with Miss West Side Gun, and then the TD with Yachty,
Yeah.
TRL Whack and Rocky. It's like he hasn't rapped like that since Wolf, like 2013.
Yeah.
We have not heard rap like that from Tyler creators all the way since then. Not even on Flower Boy, you don't hear
Maybe like
cuts like
Okra
that.
though. Okra was a single that maybe we got some of that.
Oh wait, yeah, true. But like not a lot.
Right.
Like even like Flower Boy, it had a lot of rapping, but nothing like similar to his older stuff. And which really gets me thinking, is his next album gonna be like a rap album,
Yeah.
or is he gonna go like the Igor direction again?
I don't know. That's something that is. I don't know. He drops. It seems like he always drops every 2 years, so it should be this year, right? I don't
Hmm.
know. It's tough to say because like where is he in a mental space right now? That's really what dictates what he's gonna release. And I don't know.
Yep.
He hasn't really been saying very much for a while, so I would assume he's work. I mean, he's always probably working on something. But who knows what this will be? And I think that's really exciting that like we can't predict it. There's no way.
Yeah. Like he's always out and you always see pictures surface of him like with fans and him just like doing his thing. But like we virtually have zero idea what he's doing musically right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any like he doesn't talk about it at all. Except he did two things. He did the song with Brent and he
Mhm.
did the Coca-Cola commercial this
Yep.
year. Other than that, there's been nothing. But if he doesn't want to break his like little release schedule, this is the year we get another Tyler project. And I hope we do get something.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that we will just because like it's not like he's been acting like he's not going to release music again. And obviously he's working on some stuff. So like there's no reason we should think it's not coming or on the or like in
Yeah.
the works, but yeah, he probably won't say anything about it until probably later in the year, but I wouldn't say like expect it, you know. He's
Mhm.
going to be doing shows though, so that'll be interesting to see, what he does with that.
Is he in the lineups for any of the festivals that are this year? I really have no
I
idea.
think he is in a few of them, but I'm not 100% sure either. So I don't know. I mean, like I guess
Yeah.
Igor tour was basically done when COVID hit, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was done by then.
Yeah, because I think his
Um,
last appearance, I guess, was at like the Grammys, and that was it for that. S
yeah. When was the? Do you know when the last Camp Flog now was?
no, I don't.
Oh, that was the one where they booed Drake,
Yeah,
which was what 20. That was 2018, I
must
think.
have been 2019. I don't know.
19. Yeah. Actually, yeah. No, I think it was after Igor dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Grammys was his last like sort of show appearance. But it's weird to think about because like ever since Cherry Bomb, he's made a different album after it, right?
Hmm.
So like with his next project, do you think he's gonna stick with the sound that got him a Grammy and like his most well-received album and like the one that like gained him a crazy amount of fans and like people who never heard of him are now fans of Tyler Creator? Or do you think he's gonna scrap that sound again and do something that we can't even imagine?
I don't know. I don't think he'll repeat it like exactly. He might keep. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to keep a lot of the similar sounds because he's been working with some of them for a while, and obviously it's enjoyed. But I would
Hmm.
never put it beyond him to just completely move on to something new.
Yeah.
So I think that's the
Um,
most exciting part. Yeah.
yeah. So, all right, so say you had to like pull elements from like different albums to make like one album. Like what are like your favorite parts of some of his albums that you would like to see done together, if that makes sense?
Oh man. I don't know. I mean, that's really hard to say because like I feel like he's perfected each one, so it would be hard to like pick out certain elements. But um, I really like the this is an interesting thing to pick out, but it's something I always remember is like the drum patterns on the first half of Gone Gone Thank You. I really like those. I'd like to hear him do
Hmm.
more of that.
Hmm.
That's because that's something I don't think I've really heard him do that much. Um,
Hmm.
I'd love to see him feature Caliuchis again because she's great and they work
Yep.
amazing together.
I always love them together.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, those are two of like my favorite things that I can like pick out
Mhm.
specifically. But of course, I'd love to hear him, rap for real again because I know he
Yeah.
can. Like, yeah, on his own project,
Um,
on his own production, what would that look like? I don't know. I don't really know at this point because he's progressed so much. It could be anything.
yeah, exactly. Um, Especially about the rapping. I really want to see like what he can do now because we really haven't seen like we haven't gotten like an actual like fully like rap project from him since Wolf,
Yeah,
and it's been nearly a decade since then. So a rap album now from Tyler would like sound completely different, and it really gets me thinking of like what like if he will ever do that again or if we'll ever be able to hear that. But I don't know. The one thing I pray for is that he works with Rex Orange County more
that
because
would be great.
they work so well together,
Yeah,
and obviously him and Frank Ocean too. But
right. It's funny though. Rex and Frank have not released in a long time, so I don't know if they'll be able to work with Tyler if they're like really focused on whatever they're doing right now. So we'll see.
Rex dropped in 2019 actually.
Yeah, I guess it's felt like it's been a while.
Yeah, that's true. It does. Pony does seem like he came out like 17 something like that, but no, it's actually fairly recent. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's like do are they going to be like heavy collaborators still or not? I want to see him work more with Earl too. He hasn't done work with Earl in a minute now.
it's been a long time. I mean, yeah, since Wolf, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, I think so. Which one? When did Doris come out?
uh,
Cause
Doors came out in like
was it-
2013, right?
I think they came out around the same time. So yeah, around that time, I think it
Yeah.
was the last time they made music together.
One thing I'd love to see is him working with like some of these. newer age artists. Like I know he likes Red Veil's track Drown. You know, it'd be crazy to see. I don't expect them to work together on this album, but like I'd love to see them
Mhm.
work together in the future. There's a lot of great artists on the come up right now that he could definitely choose from, and I'm sure he appreciates a lot of what they do. So
Yeah, exactly. A big one is Thundercat.
yeah,
I feel like Thundercat and Tyler can make something amazing together. And Tyler and Steve Lacy have worked together before, but I want to see more of them.
yeah,
And
definitely.
one of my dream collabs is Daniel Caesar on one of like, you know how on Flower Boy he got like an R&B artist to do the vocals
Hmm.
on like a lot of songs. I want to see him do a song like that with Daniel Caesar on the vocals. I feel like that would be like beautiful.
Yeah, that
Those
could.
are just some things I hope for, but I don't know. We never know what we're gonna get with Tyler.
Yeah, you really don't. But there's, yeah, I'm regardless. I think it'll be great. So that's I'm looking forward to whatever he's got.
Yeah, I don't really think he has it in him to drop anything like bad per se, because he's just been getting better every single project and like with that momentum, I think, and he's gonna keep some of the same elements from the stuff that people consider his like best work. So I really don't see him dropping anything terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it's even possible at this point. Like there's gonna be
Mhm.
people who don't like it, but I don't think you can say
Yeah,
it's bad.
yeah. There's everything always has haters, but
Right.
yeah. I don't know. It just kind of pisses me off to think about all these different scenarios or like all these different like all these different things that Tyler can do, but he doesn't release that much music like compared to a lot of other artists. I mean, some do less than him, but there's so much stuff I want to see Tyler do and see Tyler involved with that I just don't think is possible at all. Or like it's not realistic to even hope for them, which kind of makes me sad. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, he only has like room for like, 12 to 14 tracks. So there's a lot of dream collabs that unfortunately won't happen. But whatever he
Yeah.
does put in those tracks is gonna be good.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that we get something we hear it from him this year sometime.
Yeah, I think we will. All right. You got anything else to add?
No, I really think we covered everything from like I don't know, we talked about all this like weird stuff that he did all the way at the beginning of his career to how he's flourished as an artist, and it's probably the biggest evolution I've ever seen in a hip hop artist. I mean, people definitely come close like Mac Miller, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen any artist change the way Tyler has before, which is probably the best part about him.
Yeah, I mean it's captivating for sure. I think that's one of the best ways to describe him, and I think he'll be remembered as a phenomenal artist and one of the greats, really. Which I think a lot of people will have a hard time accepting. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think he absolutely deserves to be in that conversation. I mean, think about we everything we just talked about happened in a span of like 11 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy.
And he's not even close to done.
Yeah,
So just imagine how much more he'll do. Yeah, every time I say anything along the lines of all time and then mention Tyler's name, people just can't accept that. I have no idea why. Also, for a lot of people, like they were introduced to Tyler like just within the past like 5, 6 years. So I still feel like a lot of people think he's like a newer artist, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like in their heads, he's a newer artist to them. So when you say stuff like all time, like whatever you might be talking about, it's like I don't know, it's hard for some people to accept that, but no, I definitely think he's going to be one of the most iconic like artists in hip hop. Like in the next, like give it another decade and come back to this video, and you will see that we were right.
yeah. I mean, thinking about like Kendrick, Drake, J Cole, Kanye, they're getting a little bit old. Who's the face of the next
They are.
generation? I mean, it's probably Tyler. He's the next face.
Yeah, but it's weird to think about because he's so old already. Or he's been making music
Yeah,
like literally Drake and Tyler has started making music around the same exact time, except you feel like Drake is way older.
That's true. I never even
That's
thought
what.
about that.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. Like, it's the same dynamic with like Lil Wayne and Future, except Wayne started rapping before, but they're the same age.
I guess
So I
Kendrick
don't know.
started at the same time too. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. That's really weird to think about.
Yeah, it's just like you see people like Drake who are always active and like constantly pushing out music, and then you see artists like Tyler. I don't know. It's like he's different. He's really different from anyone else. Like it's not like he starves his fans without giving us music at the same time. It's not like super often, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that is just because like like you said, his fan base didn't really get too big until like later on. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of his fans came with like Flower Boy, so
Yeah.
yeah. But I think that covers just about everything with Tyler Creator.
Yeah. It was a good
So,
amount, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about that.
mhm.
Definitely an interesting topic, and yeah, I mean we'll be talking about like whatever you guys are interested in seeing in the future. Um, so feel free to let us know. I think we're gonna have guests as well. So yeah, this will be pretty cool.
And tonight we're finally getting the new Makami album. So I think that's what our next episode is going to be about. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to talk about for sure too. So
Definitely.
hope you guys
We
enjoyed, and
might, yeah. I just cut you off there. My fault.
no, I don't know if you need to say anything else before we wrap it up.
I was just gonna say like we might even get a guest on our next episode. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode then. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Peace out.
Peace.